Have you ever picked up a pack of meat from the grocery store and wondered if it's really as fresh as the label says? You know that bright sticker promising it's safe and ready to cook, but something just feels off. Well, if you're over 50, like many people who shop carefully for their health, this might hit close to home. As we get older, our bodies don't bounce back as easily from bad food, and a simple mistake in the store could lead to a rough day or even a trip to the doctor. That's why today, we're talking about some popular grocery chains where things aren't always what they seem. These places look clean and welcoming on the outside, but behind the scenes, there are problems with how they handle food, especially meat and other perishable items. We're pulling from real reports, inspections, and stories from people who worked there, so you can decide for yourself. Stick around, because by the end, you might change where you fill your cart next time. First, let's set the stage a bit. Picture a typical shopping trip. You walk in, grab a cart, and head to the aisles filled with colorful packages. The lights are bright, the signs promise deals, and everything seems straightforward. But over the years, investigations have shown that not all stores play by the same rules when it comes to keeping food safe. For example, government checks and audits have uncovered issues like improper storage, old products still on shelves, and tricks with labels that confuse shoppers. This isn't just random bad luck. It's patterns that show up again and again in certain chains. And if you're watching your diet or have health concerns, these details matter a lot. So, before we get into the specific stores, keep in mind that we're focusing on facts from 2022 and 2023 reports, plus what former employees have shared. It's all about giving you the full picture so you can shop smarter now. Let's move on to the first store on our list, Dollar Tree. You might know it as the place for cheap snacks or household items, but lately they've added more food sections, with frozen meals and meats. Sounds convenient, right? But here's where the trouble starts. A 2023 government inspection found that more than 60% of their stores didn't meet basic safety rules for food. That means in most locations, things like meat were kept at wrong temperatures, dairy products sat expired on the shelves, and coolers broke down without quick fixes. Just think about it if you visit a few Dollar Tree spots. Odds are high that at least a couple have food sitting in unsafe spots. Saving money on frozen nuggets shouldn't come with that kind of risk. On top of that, these stores often run with very few workers, maybe just one or two handling everything. So no one has time to check fridges regularly or pull out old items. The packaging doesn't help much either. It's usually the cheapest kind allowed, thin like kitchen wrap, which can tear easily during shipping or in the store. A past manager once said that whatever meat makes it through the delivery truck gets put out for sale. No questions asked. That's a red flag if I've ever heard one. But the supply side is even more worrying. Dollar Tree buys a lot of their chilled and frozen goods from what they call opportunity buyers. Basically, sellers who deal in leftover or rejected stock from other places. A food expert called their system a confusing path for meat, where items switch hands so many times that tracing the origin or how often they've been thawed is nearly impossible. Your next frozen dinner could have traveled farther than you have lately, picking up problems along the way. And while we're on this, let's not forget that understaffing leads to bigger messes. With so few people, small issues turn into big ones, fast. For instance, if a cooler malfunctions, it might stay that way for days, letting bacteria grow on meats that should be kept cold. Shoppers have reported finding packages that feel warm or look off, but they're still on the shelf. It's enough to make you pause before adding anything to your cart. So, if Dollar Tree is your go-to for quick groceries, maybe it's time to weigh if the low prices are worth the uncertainty. Shifting gears, let's talk about Kroger next. This chain feels like a solid everyday spot with wide walkways and displays. Their store brand deals draw in crowds looking for value. But dig a little deeper, and you'll find some practices that raise questions. Back in 2022, hidden checks by food inspectors spotted problems in over 30% of the stores they visited, like meat with wrong labels, old chicken still out for sale, and coolers that weren't steady on temperatures. One worker who used to be there shared that when meat started to brown, bosses would repack it with new dates to make it look better. Basically, what was almost too old yesterday turns into a special offer tomorrow, and those fresh ground today. Signs on beef? Turns out they sometimes mix in older pieces with new ones to use everything up and cut waste. That burger you grill might not be as new as you hope. What adds to the concern is how Kroger handles mistakes. In 2021, they had to pull back over 2,000 pounds of ground beef that might have had plastic bits in it. But instead of putting up signs or telling shoppers right away, the info was hidden deep on their website in a section most people never check. You could buy the bad stuff and not even realize until later. That's not just about safety. It breaks the trust you expect from a store. Then there's the pricing setup. They use something called zone pricing, where the same item costs different. Amounts based on the neighborhood. A jug of milk might be cheaper in one area and pricier just a short drive away. It's all above board legally, but it can feel tricky, especially with loyalty cards that complicate the final bill. Employees even say the tags switch so often that keeping track is hard. At the end of the day, if you're over 50 and counting, inconsistent quality. These little games might make you think twice about relying on Kroger for your weekly shop. From there, we come to Trader Joe's, a place with a fun vibe, free samples, and staff in casual shirts. It draws people in with unique items and a cozy feel. However, their way of doing things hides some key details. Almost all their products are under their own name, made by outside makers. But they keep those makers secret from customers, reporters, and even their own team. So, that pasta sauce with a cute label could come from anywhere, big or small, and you have no clue. When recalls hit, like in 2020, with frozen meals at risk for listeria, the secrecy makes it tough for people to know if their item is affected. Confusion like that isn't just annoying, it can put health at stake. Another thing, a lot of their meat and fish marked as fresh were actually frozen before and thawed in the store. They word it carefully to avoid outright lies, but it gives a false sense of newness. That salmon fillet might have been ice cold a week back. Their dates on packages use vague terms like Best Buy or Enjoy Buy, which leave room for guesswork on how long things last, and because of short staffing, older stock sometimes ends up front and center while fresher stuff hides behind. At checkout, they type in prices by hand instead of scanning, which is quaint but opens the door for mistakes. On your bill, you'd have to review every line to catch errors. Their return rules sound nice, but seasonal items might not qualify even if spoiled. Fans love the store's charm, but when it comes to clear info, you're often left guessing. Moving along, Safeway positions itself as a step up, with a friendly neighborhood touch and nicer setups. Yet, their meat area has seen its share of troubles. Over the last 10 years, they've had several big recalls, and the way they deal with them is quiet, almost hidden. In 2014, they pulled beef from 7 states after people got ill not before. But after sickness reports came in, no big signs or alerts, just silent removal and a short statement. The pattern kept going. In 2020, another recall for ground beef with possible plastic or metal, but many stores didn't tell shoppers promptly. A former boss said one location got the notice 3 days late, meaning families bought and ate risky meat in that time. Beyond meat, expired dairy shows up too, especially in quieter stores. Customers have shared stories of finding sour milk or moldy cheese past its date, still at full price. Staff often blame it on being short-handed, which is a common issue. With fewer workers, sections go without checks for hours, leading to overlooked problems like wrong temps or old stock. The packaging for their own brands is thin, prone to leaks that spread juices and raise cross-contamination risks. Bad news for anyone with allergies. Clean looks on the surface don't match what's happening out of sight. If you're picking up groceries here, especially if health is a priority, these ongoing issues might steer you elsewhere. Then there's Whole Foods, the spot that screams healthy and high quality from every corner. The setup is inviting, with soft lights and signs about eco-friendly sources. But look closer and cracks appear. In 2015, officials in New York found them overcharging by messing with meat weights, repeatedly sometimes $4 extra per pack. They paid a big fine over $800,000 but handled it low-key, no major sorry or changes announced. Workers from various stores said that during shortages, regular meat got labeled as organic or grass-fed to keep shelves full. So, you pay more for what might be standard stuff in fancy wrapping. Temperature checks and California audits showed issues in nearly 40% of meat sections over 3 years. Chicken left to warm, fish without proper cooling. The inspector called it pretty but risky. Their local claims stretch far, up to 400 miles, which isn't exactly nearby. Prices are steep, 60 to 90% higher than others for similar items, but taste tests show no big edge. Sometimes their organic chicken ranked lower. You're buying an image more than superior food. For those over 50 seeking real value and safety, the premium cost doesn't always deliver. Finally, Family Dollar rounds out the list. It's known for basics like soup or cleaners, but they sell meat too, and the handling is spotty. A 2023 USDA check found over 70% of stores failing on storage temps and freezer care. That's most locations putting frozen items at risk. If the freezer glitches, it's like leaving meat out in the heat. One worker recalled a cooler down for weeks, with orders to just shut the door and cross fingers. Staffing is minimal, so problems slip by unnoticed or ignored to save stock. Like Dollar Tree, they get meat from discount suppliers dealing in surplus with short lives and weak packs. Shoppers have shown photos of thawed chicken still labeled fresh. Prices are only about 10% lower than regular stores, but the safety trade-off isn't worth it. A small save could lead to big trouble if something goes wrong. Wrapping this up, grocery shopping should be easy and trustworthy. But in these chains, Dollar Tree, Kroger, Trader Joe's, Safeway, Whole Foods, and Family Dollar patterns of poor storage, tricky labels, and quiet recalls make it feel like a game of chance. From thin packaging that leaks to understaffed teams missing issues, the risks add up, especially for older folks who need reliable food. It's not about one bad day. It's systemic shortcuts that erode confidence. Many are turning to local butchers or markets for clearer sources. Not every store location is awful, but counting on luck isn't smart. Next time, check dates, feel packages, and question deals that seem too good. Knowing these facts arms you better. If this video opened your eyes, give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more tips. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you sticking around.